Good morning and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and on this channel we talk all about plants, and today I have a little bit of catching up to do. I've been neglecting a lot of my plant chores recently. Not a big deal, just the season of life that I've been in, but we do need to get some things done. So first things first, this monstera deliciosa, my big one that lives in my living room, it needs a repot. It needs some love. It's just kind of looking crazy. So we're gonna get that done. We're gonna take a look at my little alocasia fry deck that I recently got that you have not seen yet. I have it living in water right now because I'm wanting to transfer to pond, of course. So we're gonna kind of take a look at that, see what we need to get done. And then we've just got a little bit of repotting, a little bit of cleaning leaves and trimming dead leaves. So stick around if you are into plants and into caring for plants, and let's get some stuff done. So this is what this monstera deliciosa is looking like, and it's just kind of madness. There is two plants in this thing. I've got it held together with one of these little octopus hooks, and then on this side there's some of that plant Velcro. So I'm thinking about separating it possibly. We're gonna take it out, take a look. I did get some cocoa core poles to be able to stake it and then make this thing look a little bit nicer today. But it is 1:30 right now and I have not eaten lunch, so I'm gonna make some lunch really quick, get everything prepped. I wanted to show you what I'm making. It's kind of a take on like a lox bagel but in pasta form. It's gonna have smoked salmon and broccoli, some lemon, a little bit of creaminess. I think it's gonna be delicious. I'll let you know. I'll show you how this recipe goes. And then just a couple minutes before the pasta is done cooking, we are going to add our broccoli in so that that can just cook down a little bit. We still want a little bit of bite, so you don't want to put it in the whole time. Alrighty, so once I strained it, I added in a little bit of cream cheese, measured with my heart. I did some salt and a lot of cracked black pepper, some dill weed, that smoked salmon. I am currently adding in some lemon juice. And then I did save some pasta water. It's always a trick when making pasta that you're gonna make a sauce for. Add a little pasta water, help to loosen it up, but also make it nice and thick and creamy. We're gonna get that stirred up and see if we need to add anything else in, but I think this is going to be delicious. Alrighty, there you have it. It looks so good. I did save about half of it so I could have it later because I also think that'll be delicious cold. And let's get into some plant chores. Okay, got my lunch ate. I'm sure you're like, Brittany, how was it? You didn't even try it. It was delicious. I love any sort of lemony, creamy pasta. You throw those two words in there and I am down. And then I've really been on a smoked salmon kick recently. It feels very summery. It was delicious. So I packaged some up. I think I'm gonna take it over to my mom. And like I said, I think it'll be really good cold too. So let's get into this guy. I brought him over here. This usually lives over in my living room, like in this kind of windowy area. And I've been staring at it for like ever, thinking she needs some help. She needs, you know, to get her hair fixed. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and then we'll really kind of evaluate, do I wanna keep both of these plants in here or do I wanna separate? I did get some cocoa coir poles so that I can kind of mount these plants to it, and it can have kind of a more forward facing motion as opposed to being staring at the ceiling. That's what the leaves are doing right now. They're going every which way. They're staring at the ceiling. It's just not really working for me. So let me get this guy out, get it all taken apart. We're gonna really look at the roots and kind of see, can I keep it in this pot? Because it is huge, but if it's taking over, we might have to separate the two. Let me see if I can get it out and figure this out. Okie doke. So this is what we're looking at. The roots are really not filling out the pot too much, so I'm gonna keep both of them in here. And honestly, I think I can just keep it exactly like it is, scooch it forward, put the poles. You're probably thinking, Brittany, why are you doing this at your kitchen table? I've got my little mat down, but also messes happen, and then you clean them up. Put the poles so that they are kind of pushing the plant forward. I'll show you what I mean here in a sec, but really not bad. Okay, so here are these coco coir poles that I was talking about. And these are just going to provide support for the plant. When they're so huge like this, the energy that they're taking up can be minimized by having some support, something to grow on. And these are, get it open, are really nice because they're stackable. That's why they're nice. They're nice because they're stackable. So when you get into them, you are going to be like, how the heck do I put this down into the plant? And here's what you do. Inside, you'll find these little stakes, and you're just gonna kind of mount it in there, and it should fit nice and tight. And then with the second one, if you need it to be taller, because these are only 12, 15 inches, if you've got a great big plant that you are worried is going to be taller than that, you just kind of connect them. So that's what we're gonna do. And each plant in this pot is gonna have its own pole to grow against. If it can be kind of pushed forward and then the stalk itself is growing along the pole, I think it's going to, for one, look a lot nicer, and then for two, it's gonna feel more supported. There we go. That's what that looks like. So let me kind of make up some soil for this. I am gonna use some of this, but I want something a little chunkier in here as well. The roots look very healthy. I don't see any rot, but this thing, because of the size of it, stays wet forever. I truly am watering this plant every 3 to 4 weeks right now. So if I can get a little better drainage, hopefully it can live in this pot for a good amount of time, because like I said, it really isn't filling out the pot. It just is a ton of soil in there. So let me get that made up, and then we will get this little guy styled. So you can see how that's a lot chunkier. I'm gonna get the plant down in it, and then we'll backfill and add those stakes. Okay, so here's what this looks like now. Oh, hey sis. It is gonna take a little bit of time because now all the leaves are pointing in different directions. And so it's gonna take a little time for like these wonky ones to kind of even themselves out when it looks out the window to kind of all face the same direction. But let me show you here. So I got, it's a bad angle. Here we go. I got these mounted onto these poles so that they are growing up it. Do you see how when monsteras grow new leaves, they kind of create almost like a stalk that they're growing out of? And if it's kind of got that support there, it's going to continue to grow up and face forward. So I want all of the stems to be going this direction. And so like I said, it looks a little wonky right now, but I really think it looks a lot better than it did. And I'm pleased, and now we are on the road to recovery of making this guy kind of fit into my space a little bit better. Okay, I scooched you up a little bit. Here's what I want to do next, and probably last today, is I've got this little alocasia frydeck variegated in this vase of water, and it's been in here for like a week or two now. I had got it in soil. It's just a tiny little baby, and I placed it into this water, washed off all the soil so that it could start to develop some water roots. And so now we're gonna go ahead, I just ran downstairs so I could get these pots, and now I'm winded. We are going to get this transferred into pon, which, if you know what pon is, it is a bunch of little rocks essentially that are really porous. You add water to them, they soak up with the water, and that's how the roots get watered. And as we all know, because we watch the internet, alocasia really does like semi-hydro, hydro more than soil. Not for everybody. It kind of depends on your conditions and the type of soil you're using and just how good you are with alocasia, but I did want to go ahead and do this. So here's what we're gonna do. I have some pon that I've rinsed because it gets really dusty, and so you want to kind of rinse it and then let it soak a little bit so it starts to absorb that water. And then if you are using pon, you're probably going to want a self-watering pot. So I went downstairs and I grabbed my little self-watering pots. These use these cotton strings to soak up the water and get it to the roots. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this together really quick. I've got this cotton. What you do is you just stick the cotton down in these little holes here in this pot, like so. Here we go. And it looks like that. Then it sits in this cache pot where all the water kind of sits in the bottom. The cotton touches the water and it brings it up and lets that pon then soak in that water. So I've got that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this. I'm gonna scooch a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. So we've got the pot. I'm gonna add a little bit of this pon in here to the bottom. I should have got one of my little scoops. I should have got one of my little scoops, but it is what it is. We're doing it now. There we go. And then you want to make sure that the little cotton is kind of above it. It's not just on the bottom, because it's going to be a lot of work for the pond to get the water from just the bottom all the way up to the top of the plant. And then I'm taking this little guy out. There's actually 2 plants in here. You can see there's those water roots. Roots in water are different. They're a little bit more stringy so that they can get oxygen than roots in soil. So that's why it's often a good time to just place it in water and let the water roots develop before you place it into semi-hydro. Not necessary per se, but I do find that it's a little bit helpful for the plant. I'm gonna put a little more pon in here. There we go. And then I'm just gonna set this right in here and then kind of backfill. There are 2 little plants that it came with. So this one's itty bitty tiny. So I'm gonna go ahead and place it in there with it as well. And then I'm just gonna backfill this. Pon is nice and heavy and supportive, so it should be able to kind of stand up on its own once the pon is in there. Yeah. There we go. We don't want the actual stem too deep in there because we don't want that to get a lot of water and rot, excuse me. Here we go. So that's what that looks like. That little tiny baby one, it's so cute. And then I'm gonna go ahead and water this in. This does sit, the actual pot sits above the cache pot where the water is. So you wanna be kind of careful and not let it get too deep. But I'm gonna water this in, give it a little bit of fertilizer. If you're using pon, you wanna make sure that you are fertilizing because you're not getting the same nutrients that you would get from soil. So make sure you have a really good fertilizer. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this set up where he's gonna live. That was quick. If you want to watch a video on semi-hydro, let me know, or there are so many good ones out there on the internet of people who are way more educated than I am about semi-hydro in general, alocasia in general. Today is June 28th, so we're gonna kind of keep tabs on this little guy, see how he does in this substrate. I will keep you updated on new leaves that come out. And like I said, if you want to learn a little bit about semi-hydro, let me know because we can definitely do a video. I also am thinking about doing a video on just hydro, like growing plants in water, because I've had a ton of success with that. My fiddle leaf fig, which grows like crazy, is living in just water. I have some snake plants that live in just water, some like a zigzag cactus. I've got some Hoya that live in just water, and I've had a ton of success with that. So if that's also something that you might be interested in, let me know and we can kind of talk about how I've made that work in my household. And then I just have one more plant I want to look at. I just want your guys' opinion. I don't think I'm gonna repot it today, but maybe tomorrow, if you can give me your thoughts on kind of what I'm seeing here. Okay, so here's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think. I've got this big philodendron Brazil, and it is so beautiful and I love it. It's really long in some places. And then I also have this really cute heartleaf philodendron. I'm thinking about putting them in a pot together and just letting it be like a huge hanging philodendron pot. What do you guys think? Is that cute? And just let it be like a statement piece. I don't think I'm gonna do it today, but maybe tomorrow. Like I said, I have been kind of neglectful of the joy that plants were bringing me for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. We go through phases. I have had a really tough year and it kind of knocks me on my butt. I'm a teacher, end of school year stuff. I was really tired. And then I just wasn't letting myself have my hobbies because I was kind of exhausted and frustrated. And now I'm kind of back at it. So the school year ended, we went to Florida, we took the kids to Daytona Beach. I'll put a couple clips in. It was so fun. Spent a ton of time on the beach. We did museums and we did like a luau fire Polynesian show and we ate a ton of good food. And now I leave for Florida again in a couple days. I went back in April as well. So I think that just kind of having a change in my scenery has helped. But what I'm saying is if you are going through a tough time in your life, in your day, and you're starting to neglect your hobbies, it's okay. I'm coming back to it now. I have a ton of things that I want to get done. The sun is out, the weather's beautiful. Don't feel like you're a failure if you lose some plants during that time, and just know that like it's gonna be better and then you're gonna get back into your hobbies. But I haven't been putting out videos much recently, and that's part of it. So I'm gonna get back on a schedule now, starting today. Got some repotting done, got some pond done, super exciting. But thank you for everyone that watches and that sticks around. Let me know what you think of this philodendron, and give us any cool plant things that have been happening in your life. Did you get a new plant? Did you get a new beautiful leaf? We would love to hear. And then any tips that you have, always leave them in the comments because we're learning together. I've learned so many things from my viewers that like I would never know. Things like climbing plants you want to put around the trailing, whatever you have them climbing on, at a counterclockwise way because that's how they grow in the wild. I never knew. And my Hoyas that are climbing on trellises, I've done that to all of them and they're doing amazingly. So leave all your cool tips. Let us know how you're doing. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for sticking around and have a fantastic rest of your day.